Russell Peters was hosting a lineup of 12 comedians. It had Patton Oswalt, it had Louis C.K. I had no idea who these guys were. I came to know in 2012. I was like, I saw these guys. And they were hilarious, right? But I'm sitting over there, 18 years old, being like, I can drink.
Yeah.
I can drink.
And he's like, I got a dog recently. When they ask for visitor rescue, he's like, no, I bought it and it's very expensive, so please don't touch it. Again, कितने लोग offend हो सकते हैं? ये अभी इसने clip डाली है इसकी. Everyone is triggered in comments. And I'm like, this is such a great joke.
But then half of the people on this planet are not confident about being able to reason only. And that also gets mistaken for arrogance.
ये reel कटेगी यहाँ से. ये सत्य है. Hi Balraj, how are you?
Good. How
Welcome
are you?
to Second Last Supper. ये हमारा business/entrepreneurship/ बेसिकली लंबी बातें करने वाला पॉडकास्ट है जहाँ रिकमेंडेशन नहीं लेनी होती.
Very good.
चलचित्र में सिर्फ रिकमेंडेशन. चलो नेक्स्ट बुक बताओ, नेक्स्ट मूवी बताओ. यहाँ खुल के बात कर सकते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ लाइफ की बात कर सकते
I
हैं.
feel less under pressure.
हाँ. I have heard so much about you. Like you have a very good name in the industry and like you have built something very special. मेरे को ये fascination रही है. There was a time and I think अभी भी होता होगा कि जिसके भी thumbnail में the H was there ना, like it had a million views. And like I thought like कि यार वो कॉमेडियंस को मतलब एक वो होता होगा ना कि हमें वही करना है बिकॉज लाइक सो दैट वी गेट दैट वाइब ऑल्सो कि वी डिड इट एट हैबिटेट. एंड यूट्यूब एल्गो लाइक रिवॉर्ड्स द रेपिटेशन पार्ट ऑफ थिंग्स, राइट? कि यूट्यूब को पता है अच्छा अगर ये ऐसा दिखता है तो इसको हम वापस डालेंगे. इट्स जस्ट वेरी फैसिनेटिंग फ्रॉम आउटसाइड टू सी कि हैबिटेट ने मेरे को लगता है एट सम लेवल हैज मेड लाइक गिवन द फर्स्ट वायरल वीडियो टू अ लॉट ऑफ कॉमेडियंस. इज दैट ट्रू?
Firstly, when it comes to the credibility that exists for this particular place, for the logo, for the brand that has been built, it's purely because of the artists who've come and performed here. The time we started, there was one main other club that used to exist. And during that time, there was a lot of demand for that particular club also. Because there were a lot of people who used to go and perform over there. And उनके पीछे वो एक backdrop था. And then people, not YouTube or the algorithm or anything, what people would do is they would be like, oh, अगर यहाँ से वीडियो आ रही है मतलब अच्छी है. That is how people started understanding, right? So they automatically thought that this is the curation. During that time, we were just blessed to have the right technology with us, the right equipment with us, the right people with us, and mainly the artists who came over here and said that, hey, I am tired of, wanting to try and record over there. And I, on the other side, don't want that same backdrop. I want it to look different. I want it to look unique. I think what you have done over here, what you've created over here is very nice as an ambience. And the set that you have created is something that goes very well with my set that I have created. So because whatever we wanted to achieve matched, I never even thought that that is something that I want to achieve. At that point in time, I just created the space to be one where artists could come and perform. Indie artists could come and perform. At this juncture in time, when someone came up to us, mainly Karunesh Talwar, at that point in time, and he said that, hey, I want to do this, and this is the quality of the cameras that we're using. These are the DOPs. These are the people who are going to do the lighting. This is how. The only thing he wanted from our end was the sound. He saw the quality of sound engineers that were working over here, the equipment that was there, and he's like, yeah, this is done. I just want pristine quality for my video because I think that my audience deserves to have the best version of the video that should be there.
Got it.
And we managed to deliver that. Like, we just managed to deliver the audio side, but the thing is, as far as the set is concerned, etc. So that's where our learning curve actually started. That, oh, this is what people need. This is what people want to do. And this is where, if we can enable them, then they can achieve, right? From then on, we, as I've said earlier to you off the camera, that we got into this bad habit of purchasing our own equipment because we realize that if we are dependent on other people for equipment, there are a lot more issues that we encounter. And see, the artist or the performer, as it is, has to go through a lot of things when they're shooting, right? There are so many variables involved. Audience ka phone baj gaya. Audience utke suddenly goes saying that I need to use the loo. It's a live room. You know, suddenly someone opens the door. Suddenly, I mean, you can only control so much, right? And you have to live with that. Right? Whether if you stop someone from eating, whether if you stop someone from drinking something, kaise ye awaaz karna. These are all sounds that will just unnecessarily distract. You know, an artist on stage, as it is, has to deal with all of this and at the same time deliver a particular set that they have been preparing for such a long time, while simultaneously ensuring that whatever they're doing is giving the perfect live experience to the audience so that they feel that what they are experiencing at that point in time is happening then. So there's so much that's going on, and it's a miracle when that recording comes out very well. Right? The only problem is that because that miracle keeps happening right now so much and so often, we take it for granted. We say that the YouTube algorithm is pushing because of the backdrop. Whereas the credit goes to the people who are the audience, who are willing to listen to that person. The credit goes to the artist who's actually performing, who's pushing out all of that material and trying to be like, hey man, this is what I've worked for on the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years of my life. I'm willing to release this out to the world, and let's see. It's like, you know, a piece of music that gets published. A piece, you will still want to listen to music again live because you're like, that person can do a different rendition of it. There can be a cover, there can be a different backing track, there can be a different set of instruments involved in the same track. But stand-up, it's like magic. Right? Once you know the trick, how often do you want to see it again? Right? Once you know the trick, once you know someone is performing it, you're just like, I know what you're going to do.
जब ये shows जब हो रहे होते हैं, so are you there, like, do you try to be there for every show which is happening at Habitat?
I think you need to be a control freak.
Are you one?
You saw the number of things I was doing before just for this place, because I wanted this place and not just me to look good. You know, I believe that this place is a representative of me. It represents me in every particular way. It's my soul, you could say. And which is why the credibility comes in. People say, oh, you work hard. I don't think anybody should say you work hard. I think everybody should just say, try and get some time off. You should say something like that. Let me handle it for you. You know, so it's just reassuring that way. I believe everybody should take time off. But again, when I take time off, I feel more guilt.
Oh.
So yes, I am a control freak.
How many people are there in your team?
We used to have people who were salaried individuals till the pandemic happened. And then we navigated it in a very nice manner because even pre-pandemic, so we used to have people on retention. And after the retention, the basis the number of shoots we are getting, etc., there would be a certain fixed fee which would be going out to each camera operator, to the audio engineers and equipment, because those are the three essentials of shooting, right? The fourth is basically the venue, wherever you shoot. So the venue is in our control, right? So when it comes to the other three, the equipment vendors, you can keep changing, you can keep switching wherever it's coming from. Best part is we have that also in our control because we purchased that. The only thing left is the manpower. Pre-pandemic, we were at 22 people.
Okay.
From social media, audio engineers, video operators, gate staff, and during the pandemic, whenever we would discuss, I would keep propagating this one particular idea, this one concept that I had, which was that, listen, you know what? I understand that right now, this has been your main job, and I want it to be that way, but you understand how the cycle works. If artists can't come to perform because of restrictions, audience can't come, we are stuck. So we are in the same boat. We are not on different sides of the table, we're on the same side of the table. So I need to work out solutions. And I sat with the team, and the team also very nicely came out with a solution, which was that everybody has a side hustle, right? You have a hobby you want to pursue, and suddenly that becomes from hobby, it grows to a passionate thing, to it grows to suddenly taking over your entire life, right? There were a lot of video operators who wanted to get into editing. There were a lot of sound engineers who wanted to get into mixing and mastering and post-production. So there are always so many avenues which are available to you. It's only how you look at it. And I think the pandemic helped a lot of people open up their mind to the various things that they were not doing, because they're so involved in their daily lives and it's taking away so much of your time. Suddenly you have that now as a resource. So you're like, okay, I need to do something of this time that I have in my hands. Okay. So when I spoke to the team, and the team said that, listen, Habitat is always going to be our first priority, and we want it to be that way. But if we have other particular projects, etc. And I said, gladly, I said that this is the best thing that could happen. Because if you are working on other projects, you are working with other artists in different ways, then at the end of the day, you are an extension of the same place. Because someone is going to come to you saying that, hey, tu Habitat pe kaam karta hai na? They already come with that credibility that, okay, you are trustable. The biggest issue about a particular industry, any industry, is that whether if someone's giving a loan or taking a loan, or whether if someone's in any industry, they're like, ये मेरे पैसे लेके भाग तो नहीं जाएगा. अच्छा. ये कुछ काम मैंने इसको दिया है, ये आधा छोड़ के भाग तो नहीं जाएगा. Like, even if you are putting down a down payment for a particular vehicle, you are going to find out at least from 5 different sources, or you're going to be sure that, oh, this is the brand of the motor company, this is this. You're going to make sure that everything is available in the market. There are enough people talking about it. There are enough reviews. There's enough goodwill for you to be like, hey, I can trust this person, right? And that's what actually Habitat did for these guys. Simultaneously, these guys also created that credibility for Habitat. Yeah. Right? It's a two-way street. Definitely. So I'm very grateful for how this entire ecosystem has been developing. So, abhi full-time kitne log? So we've got 3 main videographers who keep switching between shows, etc. We have 3 other videographers who are there, who we work with as well, right? And these other 3, basically, if any of these 3 can't come, they keep swapping in, out, and out. So I'm actively working with 6 different videographers who also are editors now. They also do post-production, right? There are 2 different audio engineers who are there. We have 2 people in gate staff. Got it. We have 3 people in right now. I mean, I've just started building up again in the team. We've got 3 people in terms of the live producers who are over here, who help me with the line production, which is basically seeing that, okay, gates are shutting on time, gates are opening on time, audience is in, audience is seated, artists' lineups are all fine, all the artists in the green room know who's going up next, lights are being given, any coordination that needs to be done with the console, right? Any special instruction that needs to be given. So there are 3 people now. It was just me doing that earlier. Social media is just 1 person. So 1 person, okay. Yeah. So social media is basically between me and this person who, like, we've been at it since day one. I've always been a believer that your social media is something that is, again, a representative of who you are. If you control the narrative, you control how you speak, then someone's going to relate to you a lot more. Right? So it's just like how this space is. It's like if anybody walks in over here, they know that they're talking to me. If someone is going on social media to Indie Habitat, they know, hey, Balraj is there.
मेरे को अब एक जो यहाँ पे आपसे ना चीज़ें डिस्कस करनी है. सो हमारी स्टोरी बहुत ज़्यादा एक तो मैच करती है, क्योंकि चलचित्र में भी बहुत चीज़ें हुई थी कि वेयर आई हैड टू kind of like have a lot of people in the team, but they were also doing side hustles, but like there were certain people who like I had to pay more because they were dedicating full time. तो ये मैंने भी pandemic की वजह से फेस किया था. पर मेरे को आप एक बात बताओ, ये कंट्रोल फ्रीक वाली जो चीज़ होती है ना, मैंने हर लीडर में देखा है, एक लेवल तक वो सब में होता है, चाहे वो कुछ भी बोले, नहीं नहीं हम तो मतलब डेलीगेट कर देते हैं वगैरह, एक लेवल तक सब में होता है। उसका मेरे को डाउन साइड ये लगता है कि नेगेटिव उसका बस ये है कि इट इवेंचुअली मेक्स दी एग्जिट हार्डर। लेट्स से अब हैबिटेट आपने इस लेवल पे बना लिया है, कल को आपको हो कि यार मेरे को और भी 4 चीजें करनी है, बिकॉज देयर इज अ थिंग आई लर्न थ्रू लाइक बीइंग इन दिस प्रोफेशन, यू शुड बिल्ड कंपनीज इन अ वे सो दैट इट कैन बी रन बाय स्टूपिड पीपल। लाइक आपने इस लेवल पे चीजें मशीनरी इतनी फ्लुएंट कर दी है कि इट कैन बी रन बाय स्टूपिड पीपल, तो वो कभी नहीं हो पाएगा। क्योंकि अगेन लाइक आई नो आप कम्युनिटी ड्रिवन चीज कर रहे हो एंड यू वांट सेम आई एम डूइंग एट चलचित्र, इससे नेगेटिव ही हो रहा है। तो जैसे आप कह रहे हो ना कि खुद के लिए टाइम नहीं मिलता है, कभी है कि ऑफ डेज नहीं ले पाएंगे, वो कभी हो पाएगा एंड आई थिंक यू विल बी ओके विद दैट, बट वो एग्जिट नहीं है इससे फिर।
Since the time we started in 2016,
हाँ
I was handling cameras, sound, light, announcements, artists, and I was actively searching for people. Initially, you have to be a lone wolf, and you're a lone ranger, not lone wolf.
100%.
You're a lone ranger. You're just like basically you're trying to start a snowball effect
True.
to becoming an avalanche, right? And 2016 to 2019, how we grew, it was a lot about training and learning and unlearning whatever we were doing. Because I learned, like in 2019, there was a lot of time that I wasn't here. I had reached that position where I said that I don't need to be here for as much time as I want to.
Nice.
And there were a few drawbacks that I realized.
Yes, sir.
As you said, it's a community-driven space. If the community doesn't see you,
True.
they don't feel you.
True.
But more importantly, they no longer relate to you because it's a conversation, it's a dialogue. Because you no longer relate to them. You are absentia. You are not present.
True.
So if you don't know what's happening in their lives at that point in time, how are you going to be there to help them?
Bang on.
Right? That was my biggest learning. So through the pandemic, we did a few other things. After 2018, the start of 2018 at least, we were mainly on Canons. We had Canon 80Ds. We were mainly on 1080p. The whole world was just recording on HD, and they were like fine with HD. And then till a couple of artists who came down and they're like, "नहीं मुझे 4K में ही करना है. 4K. YouTube is supporting 2160, etc. It's much more sharper. It's better." And that's the problem with higher fidelity. Once you go there, you can't turn back.
So now
Because you're getting more, it's a sensory overload, right? Once you get that information, it's like going back to a chipped cup.
Now you record everything in 4K.
Everything is 4K.
Oh.
But if you open that second drawer, the drawer above the camera that I showed you, you will see that there are 24 hard disks of 5 TB each.
Yeah.
I am having to purchase 2 5 TB hard disks every month.
Oh.
This is something that I want to grapple with. I have thought about NAS systems, RAID systems, this, that. I am like, okay, I give up. Because a hard disk at the end of the day is just something that I am keeping. I owe no responsibility to anyone to keep the data beyond a certain time. It's a shoot. They've taken the data, but I keep the data for archival. I don't use it anywhere. I don't upload it anywhere. It's just for the sake of it becoming a museum.
I relate to this.
It's a time capsule. It's like basically, I'm hoping that because that's the other side of me, which is like, hey, I want to create a legacy.
No, this is
right, and
this is not odd at all. मैं बहुत relate कर रहा हूँ.
Okay, so you want to create a legacy because you are just like, okay, you are giving so much of your time, so much of your energy, so much of your soul to this particular aspect of your life that you're like, hey man, I want to be able to look back someday or sit with a bunch of friends who are the same artists who used to come and just nostalgically have a watch at this.
You know, लोग बोलते हैं कि जब आप कॉन्सर्ट्स में जाते हो वीडियोस रिकॉर्ड मत करो, बाद में कौन देखेगा? बाद में देखते हो क्या? मैं देखता हूँ. मैं देखता हूँ. I was at Magnetic Fields in December and like some of my favorite artists और like जो वहाँ पे आए थे, मेरे favorites में मैं जा जाके देखता हूँ वीडियो. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप इन चीज़ों को नहीं देखते हो. I spend for Google Photos का backup every month and iCloud also. लोग Google लेते हैं, मैं दोनों पे लगा रहा हूँ, मैं डबल बैकअप
वो
रख
इतने
रहा
बढ़िया
हूँ.
चीजें बना के देते हैं आपको
हाँ.
यार. अब सब ऑडियो डाल के म्यूजिक डाल के वही आपके लिए रील्स काट के बना रहे हैं.
Yeah.
मैं आई एम जस्ट लाइक व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन.
मेमोरीज भी अब रील्स के जैसे आ रही है. वो आपका फोटो गैलरी में जब आप जाओ आईफोन पे, दिस इज अ मेमोरी दैट वी हैव मेड फॉर यू. So yeah, man, this is very fascinating, and like I like the time capsule concept, like and I relate to it. This is not weird at all, but हर जना नहीं करता ये.
नहीं, I mean it's a very personal aspect.
It's a personal
also,
aspect
right?
of
I
thing.
mean,
तो मेरे को लगता है आप ना वीडियोस के अलावा भी चीजों को किसी ना किसी लेवल पे यू माइट लाइक होल्ड ऑन टू द थिंग्स जैसे.
so sorry. So you were talking about the exit.
हाँ हाँ
That's वो आंसर हुआ नहीं.
पर इस पे भी अपन आएंगे.
हाँ जी. So the thing is that I wanted to understand what you meant when you said that it's hard to exit, because I'll tell you what, there are two ways I look at this. One is that this particular place is solely dependent on you and it won't run without you. Is that what you mean? Or do you mean that I am done with this project and I no longer want to do it, so I want to do something else now in my life? What aspect
I
do you
mean the former, because अब जैसे आप जेफ बीजोस को देख लो. जेफ बीजोस ने इतने टाइम लाइक ही वाज द सीईओ ऑफ अमेज़न, अभी इज लाइक मेरे को ब्लू ओरिजिन्स पे काम करना है. सो लाइक आप सीईओ वाला पद छोड़ दो एंड अब आप बाकी चीजें करो. बहुत लोगों की लाइफ में ही होता है. यू स्टॉप बीइंग द सीईओ, मैं ऊपर से थोड़ा बहुत देख लूंगा जो हो रहा है. इट विल ऑलवेज बी माई बेबी, बट आई नीड टू डू मोर स्टफ. जैसे कल को मान लो आपको एक यार मेरे को कुकिंग में कुछ अब करना है, राइट, कि ठीक है यार हैबिटेट बना लिया और ये चलता रहेगा. आई विल कीप कमिंग लाइक हियर एंड स्टफ, एंड इन दैट सेंस आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द एग्जिट.
यार क्या है ना कि जिंदगी में बहुत लोग को ना जल्दी है चीजें हासिल करने की, एंड दैट इज व्हाट क्रिएट्स दिस एंटायर थिंग दैट I give myself so much time. I give myself so much time to create this process, to create people, to get people. It's good to have these targets of time, but it's a long game. You have to realize that it's one thing to give yourself time, but it's another thing to give the system you have created time for it to respond in a particular manner. You get that data back, you get that understanding, you process it, and then you're like, अच्छा ये ऐसे नहीं चल रहा है, कुछ और try करते हैं. But you don't have to be like अभी कुछ और try करना है. If you have the bandwidth. Yeah, if you don't have the bandwidth and you are the kind of person, you are of that nature that you need to do 10 things simultaneously, then that's more of a personal endeavor of yours. For me, it's like अभी मेरे पास ये 5 चीजें हैं जो मुझे करनी है लाइफ में. ये पांचों अलग पेस पे चलेंगी.
Okay.
राइट. पांचों अगर सेम पेस पे चल रही है तो प्रॉब्लम है. Then I have to prioritize. So I will at any given point in time try to be in a scenario where it's like, okay, in this part of my day, I need to prioritize this. In this part of my day, I need to prioritize that.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not able to go home and sleep, that's a problem. So I need to fix this. I've been, again, lucky enough to be in that position where ऐसे कुछ खड़ा नहीं हुआ. Yes, I've had to spend more time here on certain days. But I know for a fact that because I've spent that period of time over here, I have made active changes. I've got people in. I've trained them to make life easier for me for the next 2, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months.
Okay.
So as far as the exit is concerned, I know that, okay, this is a place that I don't need to focus. This is a place I don't need to be there personally. But I will still be present mentally over there and still be asking those questions wherever I am.
Okay.
So basically, if I'm on holiday, like what I said about that guilt, right? Where I'm like, hey man, had I been there, ये problem नहीं होता. So the thing is that, and it's the minutest of issue, which nobody cares about, right? That is where I am very over controlling in nature, right? Where I will get stressed out about it, and I don't need to be stressed out. So that's something that I'm actively learning.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying the process.
Yeah.
But also thanks to the people I'm working with and the new people who've come in over the last couple of months, it's really nice because they're also understanding where I'm coming from. So now they've gotten into the habit of giving me that information without having me to ask for it.
Yeah.
So I don't need to remember, but I know for a fact that I will open my phone at this point in time before a show. 40 minutes before a show or 1 hour before a show, and I'm like, kya ho raha, kya ho raha, kya ho raha? And then if while going through the chat, I'm like, okay, then I'll ask a particular question.
ठीक है.
Then basically, किसका जवाब नहीं आएगा? Then I'm like, okay, now all hell breaks loose in my head because I'm like, जवाब क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? That's where anxiety starts, and then I call a few people. Answers great, doesn't answer, anxiety increases. It's again got to do with that same excitement or that enthusiasm which comes, like how butterflies happen before a live show for an artist. It's like that, like basically like how someone thinks that all the things that could go wrong, but we're there to handle it. So for me, that's what happens. That anxiety builds up. But now there are people who are trained who are like, okay, they know that, okay, like Balraj is asking questions for the right reasons. He doesn't want things to go wrong, etc. And yes, every organization is only as good as the people that are working there. You can't clone yourself, but you can at least train people enough to show how much of a control freak you are and make them realize that if they are in control of those aspects, then if anything goes wrong, it is not their responsibility at all. That's where I leave it at. क्योंकि ये जो entire scene है ना, जो built up है ना, whoever's working over here right now, right? For them, it's like the cameras need to be proper, the equipment needs to be proper, everything needs to be proper. They need to be 100% during the entire shoot. For us, it doesn't matter.
True.
If we bungle up, if we mess up, if we fall down, it's on us. It's not on them.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the position where we are in, where we have to be at 100%. And yes, it might create a burnout scenario for people, right? But that is why there are enough people doing the job. And we have to train more and more and more people. Like in Feb, March, April, May this year, we've done the highest number of shows that we've ever done. Wow. We've done between 4 and 5 shows in a day.
Wow.
In a single day. Throughout the week.
Wow.
हम लोग ने जब पैंडेमिक में रिज्यूम करके रीस्टार्ट किया, वंस रिस्ट्रिक्शंस एंड लाइक यू नो एवरीथिंग वाज लिफ्टेड, वी वर डूइंग 1 show a day every day, and now we've reached that point where we are doing between 4 and 5 shows a day. It's like I could see people reach burnout, and I was like, listen, you know, it's totally your call. If you don't want to do it, we'll call other people, and they were like, no, I want to do it. I know that monsoons are coming. I know that we're going to go into hibernation for the next 2-3 months. We know for a fact.
Fully shut in monsoon.
No.
Okay.
There are no recordings. There are no shoots. If you're doing recordings and shoots, it's on the artist's liability.
So अभी जो आपके रोज के 5 एपिसोड रिकॉर्ड हो रहे, जो शूट मतलब होते हैं यहाँ पे, उनमें से रिकॉर्ड कितने होते हैं?
So there are 3 different types of recordings. One is what we created during the pandemic because मैं समय के साथ बैठा था, and then like that whole thing happened of stream, right?
Yeah.
So I was very interested in OBS and connecting the cam since a very long time, and then Camlink happened, and I think technology reached that point where it was easy for us also to understand and do it in terms of getting the mics in, and we also had learned enough knowledge. We had done enough research to be like, okay, हम लोग को हमारा knowledge वहाँ तक पहुँच गया कि we know what connections need to be established in the equipment. I was very fascinated in doing the stream setup, and we basically created a 3-cam stream setup, and we started. So that's how we also ensured for our team that we were like, we'll do a daily 3-cam stream setup for our daily shows.
मैंने आपका एक सौरभ पंत का देखा था ये.
So every show has like with live switching, center, left, right. जिसमें से my point was that if people at this point in time post the pandemic don't have the money to spend on creating videos, because videos are your billboards, your advertisement tools to announce your tours, your tickets, and to get people back into the room to watch you, to create those fans, right? If you don't have the money for this entire process, then how are you going to survive? So then we were like, let's do the stream thing. Let's create like the best quality possible in terms of someone being able to just take out content. And there are so many reels that have come out since then, which have actually pushed people to being like, let's go for this person's show. This person's amazing. So that's where we are the enablers. Right? Okay. And the second setup is the full-scale recording setup, which is basically where you get raw footage of each piece of equipment that is there. Every single camera that is there, every single mic that is there. In the stream setup, you're getting audio pre-mixed into the card of audience mics, your main mic. So you don't have to do mixing mastering. You're getting that, right? But there is no control.
There's no control. Videos में भी cuts पहले से ही हैं.
There is no control in it, right? There's a comic, his name is Mohammed Sohail.
Yeah,
He's
I love
released
him.
32 videos from the stream.
Wow. So you, I am assuming, also charge separately to an artist कि आप.
We didn't charge an artist for the stream, whoever is coming and performing in our lineup shows. For someone who is taking up a stream setup, right, in their solo show, in a show which they are curating the lineup, where they are taking up the space and saying that, hey, Balraj, I'm putting up my own show.
Okay.
I have my own lineup of artists, but I don't have the budget to spend for a full recording and do post-production.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm okay if there are bugs. I'm okay if, like, there is no control. I'm okay, like, you know, that it doesn't really matter to my audience,
Okay.
right? I just want to put up content. This is where the stream setup, because it's much cheaper in terms of recording, in terms of post-production, in terms
क्योंकि उस
of...
पे आपके editors भी बाद में नहीं बैठेंगे.
कोई नहीं बैठ रहा है उस पे. आप अपने फोन पे कोई भी ऐप यूज करो, आप इंस्टाग्राम, आप यूट्यूब से नहीं तो वीडियो डाउनलोड कर लो, नहीं तो आप लैपटॉप से OBS का रिकॉर्डिंग ले लो, जो रिकॉर्डेड फाइल है, और उसको आप क्लिप करके डाल दो.
Got it.
आप अपने फोन से इंस्टाग्राम पे क्लिप कर सकते हो.
हाँ, तो आप उनको एक फाइल दे देते हो, ये रही तेरी स्ट्रीम वाली फाइल.
नहीं तो वो देते, नहीं तो बोलते तू डाउनलोड कर ले, नहीं तो तू देख ले. We actually started, also another reason why we started this was there were a lot of people. We used to do this earlier where we used to keep a Canon, but not feed audio into it, because we were like, hey, this is just a reference. This is so that you can go back, look at how you've performed,
This is good.
and revisit what you did today. And the stream is like, they're just like, पहले तो मैं सिर्फ ऑडियो सुनता था बलराज, अभी मैं वीडियो में एक्चुअली देख रहा हूँ what video cues, what my expressions are, how I'm performing, if I'm moving around. They're experimenting a lot more with their act, and that's just created a world of a difference in how they perform.
Lovely.
So their learning curve has accelerated. So it's good for the entire system.
Lovely.
Like, I think this is what creates that credibility. If you push someone to be better, if you push someone to learn, and you can only teach someone so many things that you know, right? But if you push them that, hey, you learn, because if you learn, you are going to teach me back. So they are going to help you push the envelope. You can only be in so many places at the same time. So you can, as the CEO or whatever you call yourself, you can only
No,
be...
no, सही है. मेरे को आप एक चीज बताओ, लेट्स से अगर मैं आज परफॉर्म करता हूँ और मेरा 8 बजे शो खत्म हो जाता है, मेरे को कितने टाइम बाद वो स्ट्रीम वाला वीडियो
It's
मिलेगा?
live. आपको लिंक वहां पे मिला.
अच्छा, हाँ,
It's live. आपको
it's
लिंक
live.
मिल गया.
It's live. But
Our
that,
poetry open mics are all streamed live.
yeah.
Every Monday in the evening at 8 p.m. and every Sunday in the afternoon at 2 p.m. It's a live stream. Check it out. It's public.
It's public.
So anybody who comes and performs here, वहां से वो अपना clip निकाल के poetry का डाल देता है. There's a poet. His name is Manhar Sheth. Last year he had under 60K odd followers. Today he's at 1.5 million
Wow.
on Instagram.
So comedians जब यहाँ कोई perform करता है, storyteller, don't they sometimes request कि यार इसको stream मत करना?
There were quite a few people, and it's completely fair,
अच्छा.
right?
So you give that liberty.
So yeah, we put a black screen on it. We like the stream, because there are some comics and some poets who say that, you know what, I don't want my material to be public right now.
Yes, absolutely.
It's still under trial, it's still under process. Number two, they're too secure about their material, and they're like, hey, someone else, because someone else will look at it and then they might get some ideas and they'll create a better version.
Yeah, होता
Then,
है.
I mean, it's like, there are all of these thoughts that come into people's heads, right? So we put a blank slate and we cut off the audio. It just takes like 3 clicks. That's how simple OBS is. What we try to do is we like to create that atmosphere over here in the green room where we're like, see, we want everyone to trust everyone.
Okay.
So we try and create lineups where everybody trusts the other person on the lineup. Because that stream link is going to only to the artists on that lineup.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And when it's going to those artists, it's still being shared. Right? Between me and you, if I share a link to you, right? I will not expect you to share it ahead.
It's an unlisted link.
Yes. I will not expect you to share it ahead. Right? If it gets shared ahead, the number of views you can see it spike.
Yes. Unlisted में होता
So मुझे आके लोगों ने ये भी बोला है, भाई वो प्राइवेट कर देना. ये 262 व्यूज पहुंच गए. हम लोग 8 जन थे लाइनअप पे बलराज. And I'm sorry, but like I hope you understand that this is. They're like, yeah, completely. Because there are also people who are working with their team of editors, with their team. Everyone has their own scenario, right?
बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन आप एक बार मेरे को क्विकली जो आप सारे ये स्ट्रीम्स करते हो, how many of them are unlisted streams and how many of them are public streams?
All are unlisted.
Got it.
except for the 2 poetry open mic streams, which are on Sunday and Monday. The second advantage of stream is, pehle I had to take out a memory card, put it inside, give you the data, wait for the transfer.
No, ये आपने बहुत सही problem solve किया.
We have technology with us, guys. We are living in 2023.
Yes, man. True. This is how Joe Rogan also records his podcast.
हम लोग ने the internet sets को live stream ही करा. Wherever if you've seen it, जो भी करा है with the audience, those are all only live streams which are unlisted. And then we give them the file and they're like, आप काट लो जो काटना है. आपको अगर at the end of the day कुछ चीज आपने बोल दी है which you are like नहीं ये नहीं जाना चाहिए. कुछ चीज आपने बोल दी है जो you are like इसको स्टार्ट में डाल दो तो कॉन्टेक्स्ट मिलेगा. That's the best way. आपको एडिट में क्या ही करना है. ना तो मुझे डेटा रखने की जरूरत है. मैं वहां पे 24 हार्ड डिस्क के साथ बैठा हूं, 25 हार्ड डिस्क. घर पे मेरे 8 हार्ड डिस्क पड़े हैं. आई वांट टू सॉल्व दिस एज अ प्रॉब्लम. प्लस OBS at the same time, the file size of each recording I can control with the bit rates.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
6000 kbps कर दिया, हमने 4000 कर दिया, 12000 कर दिया, depending on who wants how much quality, right? आपने वो कंट्रोल कर लिया आपके साथ में. And the size that you are getting of an hour and a half का show, 90 minutes approx, is not more than 2.5-3 GB.
Yeah.
जबकि अगर मैं 1080p पे Canon में रिकॉर्ड करता था तो वो होता था मतलब 12 से 16 GB.
और 4K करोगे तो फिर
भाई 4K is about 64 GB almost.
Yeah. Crazy.
64 से भी ज्यादा होता है actually, but yeah.
Another question about this. In every case जो ये recordings है, इसकी ownership lies with the comedian or with Habitat?
Simple question. You have your team. You are paying your team. We are shooting this.
Yeah.
Who does the ownership lie with?
Us.
With us is who?
Like Chalchitra Talks.
With Chalchitra. Correct. The team can keep switching.
It is always Chalchitra.
So over here the artist is paying. So who does the ownership lie with?
You. Habitat.
The artist is paying.
The artist is paying.
Yes, for the recording.
Okay.
Right?
So, yeah.
So the ownership lies with the artist. At the same time, because my brand is there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There is a certain credibility. There is a certain amount of flack that we can face.
Right.
Right? For whatever the artist has said. Because anybody can perceive that this stage is the platform that is promoting them. It's a gray area over here. It's not as simple as a black and white.
Okay.
So we have this constant dialogue and conversation with the artists where we are like, listen, like, this is the kind of material that we are not comfortable with. This is the kind of material where we are completely comfortable with. So if you are stepping into this zone, this is where you need to show how good an artist you are, that you've put a foot in and you've got your foot out without anybody realizing it.
Okay.
That is where you call it art. Right? जिसको समझ आया, आया. जिसको नहीं आया, नहीं आया.
ठीक है.
Nobody took offense.
हाँ.
Nobody got hypersensitive, oversensitive, over-emotional.
हाँ.
Nobody's raising sticks. Nobody's throwing stones. That is where art peaks.
Yeah.
Like you have, whether if the mode of communication is words, or if it is visuals, or if it is just sound.
Yeah.
Whatever you wanted to communicate, you've used that mode of communication, exactly what you've thought, you have planted in that person's head. It's like you are reading another person's mind.
Yeah.
And they call it art because again, people say equated to like, oh, it's like peeking into someone's soul and etc. But I mean, it's easier said than done.
हाँ, बट मेरे को यहाँ पे आंसर नहीं मिला इस चीज का कि कुछ केसेस में जैसे आपने कहा कि डिपेंड्स राइट, लाइक अगर आर्टिस्ट पे कर रहे हैं तो ओनरशिप लाइज विद देम, राइट? बट जो आप सारे स्ट्रीम्स रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो और लेट्स से दी आर्टिस्ट इज लाइक कि यार नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, मतलब लाइक यू विल एनीवे रिकॉर्ड इट, राइट? जो यहाँ पे 5 शोज रोज के शूट होते हैं, आप एनीवे रिकॉर्ड करते हो पांचों के?
Not always. We have this conversation. So we have 2 lineups daily.
हाँ,
Right? On certain days, 3 lineups. Like Thursday and Friday, we have Comedy Roulette at 8 p.m.
ठीक है।
We have All-Star Stand-Up Comedy at 10 p.m.
ठीक है।
And there's a midnight
हाँ।
stand-up comedy show. Right? That's at 11:59 p.m.
ठीक है।
So midnight and All-Stars is happening Monday to Sunday.
हाँ,
The 8 p.m. show of Comedy Roulette is every Thursday and Friday.
Got it.
This is what we curate.
हाँ,
Right? So I curate along with
हाँ,
my people, right? So when we are curating this, at this point in time, we are providing the stream to the artist for free. Right? The ownership over here still lies with the artist
ओके,
because they are the people who are performing the content. It is their content, their words. We can't take ownership for what they are saying.
ओके,
That credibility is completely theirs.
ओके,
Backdrop आप change कर दो, black कर दो,
ओके,
आप green screen कर दो, कुछ भी कर दो, चेहरा तो उनका है ना. They are the ones who are actually putting their entire face to whatever they are saying.
हाँ,
नहीं तो इससे अच्छा फिर स्पीकर ही बजने दो.
सही बात है। नहीं 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 नहीं,
अगर स्पीकर भी बज रहा होता है और म्यूजिक प्ले होता है, the ownership lies with the artist who sang it or who's performing it.
हाँ.
Right?
So help me understand in which case does the ownership lie with you?
It's only as far as co-ownership at best.
Okay,
The rights are not with us.
got it. So जो आप
The rights can only be said that, listen, tomorrow, if I want to utilize this, I have co-ownership with you in a
Exactly.
manner in which I am utilizing this for my benefit, for
Yes.
advertising, for whatever I am doing.
yeah,
But because we have helped each other out,
Huh.
so only you have the rights and I have the rights. So if tomorrow I do something which hurts you, you can ask me to pull it down.
true.
Right? And tomorrow if you do something that hurts me, I can ask you to pull it down.
Oh, got it, got it, got it.
That's how we are in this companionship, partnership. It's a marriage.
So जो आप बता रहे हो, these all these TVs of footage that you have, technically आपकी full ownership you don't have of it.
No.
Got it, got it.
I own the hard disk.
You you have the ownership of the art.
I have the hard disk. So the thing is, anything that I do with the data without informing the artist
Yeah,
is unethical.
Totally
Straight up.
unethical.
Exactly.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
Right? Tomorrow, if any of these guys, right,
क्या है?
from the team go and release, see, you can see their stomach suddenly go ऐसा अंदर जा रहा है, they're getting uncomfortable. Look at these guys, right?
no.
So that's exactly how it is. This is how on this basis the entire scene is built.
Yes.
Goodwill,
Goodwill.
relationships, trust. So now you know how much I am tied in.
अब यहीं पे एक और डीप जाते हैं. Since you're tied into this thing, you are friends with so many comedians and artists in the industry, but you're also doing business with them at some level.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to understand it कि एक कहीं ना कहीं लेयर आ जाती है कि यार अपना बिजनेस चल रहा है, लाइक अगर मान लो कल एक बिजनेस रिलेटेड कन्वर्सेशन हुई हो, फिर घर आ जा, मतलब डू यू कीप लाइक डू यू हैव बाउंड्रीज विद द कॉमेडियंस यू आर वर्किंग विद बिकॉज यू आर ऑल्सो डूइंग बिजनेस विद देम? यार इससे आगे लाइक मैं ऐसे भाई भाई नहीं बनना चाहता.
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ
सो यू आर लाइक फुल्ली
या whoever, मतलब सब दोस्त है, जिसके
हाँ.
साथ क्लोज हुए, जिसके साथ नहीं हुए, ठीक है.
And
मतलब एटलीस्ट we're in हाँ स्पॉट चाहिए, ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, मुझे रिकॉर्ड करना है, ये वो. लाइक it's my basic duty, not just as a businessman but as a person, to whatever I want to achieve, to whatever legacy I want to create, to whatever I want to do, right? It is my basic responsibility towards that, that I should be able to have a conversation with anyone.
Yeah.
Forget business side. That I should be able to have a conversation with anyone, being like, "Huh, this is what I'm doing. How can I help you?" So if there is someone who's really close to me, I can at best be like, I don't usually do this for people, but you know what? I will turn the space around for you. Which basically means that lighting change किया, sound change किया, ये किया. मैं सामने से उनको suggestions दूंगा. Someone who's not close to me, it's basis them asking me questions. The more deeper they dig, they'll also reach the same solutions. They'll also reach that.
True.
But they will need to ask all of these things out of me.
True.
Where they're like, अच्छा इसने ऐसे किया था, ये इसके शो में ऐसे आया है वीडियो, हम ऐसे कर सकते हैं क्या? हाँ बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. These are the vendors. For someone who's really close to me, हाँ भाई रुक जा, मैं वेंडर से बात करता हूँ. For someone who's not close to me, I'll be like, ये vendors के नंबर है, these are the charges that were there for this particular artist, तू देख ले आगे.
True.
Someone who's really close to you, right, will also understand when you don't have the time.
Yeah.
के like भाई सुनना, ये लास्ट टाइम हुआ था, ये सब ऐसे है, ये सब सेट है, मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, I'm really sorry, I've got like 3 other things to run, 3 other errands to do. Could you just like, you know, sort this out yourself? Do you have someone? If you don't have someone, let me know.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So it's a constant back and forth. So it's all of these things are not like ke for a business or ye pura scene, honestly, and any business. They say ना the biggest decisions happen on a golf course, and I mean वो पुराने dialogue बोलते हैं ये वो.
नहीं true है.
It's the same thing. आप Uber में बैठो, Ola में बैठो, टैक्सी में बैठो, आप वो उस बंदे टैक्सी वाले से बात करो, अगर नए शहर में हो और उसे बात करो कि भाई यहाँ पे कुछ कोई अच्छी चीज है खाने के लिए, आप उसके साथ हंसी खुशी बात करोगे, वो बंदा बात ही करेगा आपके साथ, वो बोल देगा हाँ ये ट्राई कर लो, वो ट्राई कर लो, ये देख लो, वो देख लो. That person also open up.
Yeah.
That's, I think, basic human gestures that if there are some people who are not able to abide by those, maybe they're just having a bad day and you have to just give them that benefit and be like, okay, cool, I'll ask someone else.
Yeah. What do you do to unwind, like when you are not working here? Like what's your me time? अपने आप like खुद के लिए selfishly जब time मिलता है, so what are the kind of stuff do you do?
In the middle, I got very fascinated with losing weight. I had gained a lot of weight in the last 2 years between the pandemic, etc. So I was just like, okay, let me just spend a lot more time with myself, go to the gym, go to the beach, go outside, just walk outside, run outside. Those 3 months, I realized that I was barely spending time at home. I would just go home to sleep a lot more and like other things, like basically just go out with family. Otherwise, it was just like these 3-4 things that I was doing. I wasn't spending time at home is what I realized. Like, and I wanted to spend more time at home. Like I started listening to couple of podcasts and a couple of things while I was working out in the gym, because I was just like, okay, I'm tired of just going through music, and because earlier I used to really love exploring music. So then I started being like, okay, let's listen to podcasts, let's see how that works out, etc. And I got some really insightful stuff. And then it reached now where I listen to all of these things on the way. Because traffic की काफी सही चीज है. यहाँ पे ये शहर में मतलब अगर ट्रैफिक नहीं होती तो ये शहर का एफिशिएंसी नहीं तो 3000% होता, नहीं तो नेगेटिव होता.
True.
Basically, it means that nobody is working.
Yeah.
Or that everybody is like, wow, like हम लोग time से पहुंच गए, time से, like everybody is just done. Yeah, exactly. That's where I started listening to a lot of podcasts, etc. So for me, winding down is just talking to friends now and just basically speaking my heart out to people. Like technically talking to you right now is winding down for me.
Yeah.
I'm not working.
Yeah. That's the idea. Yeah.
So I'm not working. I'm not thinking about work.
Right.
I mean, I might be talking all about work, but
yeah. But this is not work.
This is not work for me.
Exactly.
It's not like I'm switched on and geared on. I'm thinking, acha, ye next show hai, ye.
That's the idea. Yeah.
So whether if it's hanging out with a couple of my older school friends, or if it's just like, you know, spending time with Chandni and I, we have a 13-month-old baby boy, blessed with a 13-month-old baby boy. His name's Tanveer. He's just started play school, and I've started spending a lot more time with him now. Like बीच में ऐसे था कि I'd spend 3 months here and then not like just spend like morning time with him. Then I would not be here for 3 months and just be basically with him all day. And then so that happened a lot in the last year. And now I've found that balance thanks to the team coming back and then people growing and all. So it's good.
लवली. पता है मैं कभी-कभी आपको ऐसे इतनी कंसंट्रेशन के साथ देख रहा होता हूँ ना, आपकी शक्ल रणवीर कपूर जैसी है थोड़ी. Have you heard that? क्योंकि दाढ़ी वाला
एक दूसरा नाम बताऊं?
हाँ.
अर्जुन कपूर.
नहीं.
मेरे
को रणवीर वाला.
मुझे बहुत लोग ने अर्जुन कपूर बोला है. I've traveled to places and they're like, yeah.
मेरे को सेकंड हाफ का ये जवानी है दीवानी वाला रणबीर जब वो वीडियोग्राफी वगैरह में
I honestly don't know how to take. I honestly don't know how to take it. I don't know if that's a compliment to him or not.
Lovely. And how
Just
much
kidding, Ranbir. Love you.
how much are you into movies and shows?
There are a couple of shows that are just like a really warm hug. Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Beautiful show. I love it. Then there's this other show called Severance.
Yeah, I love Severance.
So that's also really good. It took me 3 times to start watching Game of Thrones, but then when I got hooked onto it, I would always reach like half an hour of the first episode and be like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this.
First episode is work.
But then Chandni got me to start, and because she was like, otherwise we're not dating.
Oh.
And I was like, is this a joke? She's like, yeah, of course it's a joke. So I was like, I don't know now. Okay. And she very nicely sat with me, and then she saw 4 seasons with me.
Wow.
And she was like, you don't know how lucky you are. You're getting to watch 4 seasons at a stretch. You don't know how lucky you are. And second season, I realized how lucky I was. I was like, okay, yeah, this is like, you need to get through a certain number of shows. I have again tried watching Breaking Bad 4 times, and I have not gone beyond the 3rd episode because I'm like, अच्छा time नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है,
Season 1
नहीं है.
episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time. Like there are those kinds of shows as well. बाकी तो old school मतलब बहुत देखा है. Friends, Big Bang Theory, this that. Like those are, that's pop culture technically at this point in time right now.
Yeah.
As far as Hindi shows, no, I don't watch any TV serials.
नहीं बट ये जो प्राइम और इन पे आते हैं जो शोज इंडियन ओरिजिनल्स जैसे हैं.
मिर्जापुर ऑफ कोर्स वो देखी है मैंने. लाखों में एक ऑफ कोर्स देखी है. ग्रेट शो. Both the seasons really good. Afsos by Anirban Dasgupta and Saurav Ghosh.
Yeah.
Too good यार. I mean क्या show है वो. ऐसे मतलब I can keep going on. आपसे ऐसे.
Have you seen Pushpavali?
Yes, I've seen Pushpavali.
Yeah,
Pushpavali is also really good. The last season I saw purely because Chandni is such a huge fan. And I was just like, I don't know if I have the time, this, that. But then I just got into it. It's just such a good show. I mean, Sumukhi and the entire team, such good writers.
Yeah.
You know, all of these shows that we just mentioned right now, they have such strong writing.
Yeah, man.
उसके ऊपर ही पूरी show based है.
Yeah. And I also want to talk about stand-up, but मेरे को इंडिया की बात नहीं करी. Outside of India, who are the stand-up comedians you follow or like to watch?
Of course, there's Bill Burr.
Yeah.
He's like my top tier amongst top tier comics. There's James A. Caster, John Oliver.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can go all the way back to like Richard Pryor and all of those guys as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of comedians during that time who were performing who were much ahead of what, like, you know, audience. So that's why it's still called an indie circuit, right? Takes time for it to get accepted because people, like, after 3-4 years, they'll be like, oh, ये 4 साल पहले निकली थी. Like, ये अभी मैं discover कैसे कर रहा हूँ? It's like that, you know. One of the first few people as a kid I watched growing up and I loved watching is Robin Williams and Jim Carrey. It's such, I mean, good actors and like, I later on came to know, like, obviously, and I'm talking about when I was in graduating between 2007, 8, 9, that time I was just getting more and more suggestions that acha ye dekh le, ye try kar le, because there were a lot of friends of mine who were in IIT and I didn't go to IIT. And they had this one common server, hard disk, etc., whatever it was, where जहाँ पे पूरी दुनिया का data, सारे shows used to be just available just like that. I mean, those guys knew how to watch whatever they wanted to watch, you know. So I used to get a lot of suggestions from there, and that's how I came to like Robin Williams ka ye wala, Jim Carrey ka wo wala, Tonight Show, Late Night Show. There was a lot of stuff that you don't actually relate to, but you start to pick up on the cues of how people are talking, and then I think like you start first educating yourself, and then that leads to your curiosity. Then you start researching. Then you're like, oh, ye hua, and then you relate.
Yeah.
So it does take a lot more energy.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to go to this one particular show in 2008. which was at the Chicago Theater. I was actually visiting, I'd gone on this solo trip and I was visiting my cousin brother in Chicago. And he told me, why don't you go to watch this particular show? I'm booking tickets for you. He told me Russell Peters, ye bahut sahi hai, isko dekho, this, that. Russell Peters was hosting a lineup of 12 comedians. It had 2 breaks in the middle. Each comedian was doing about 12 to 13 minutes. It had Patton Oswalt. It had Louis C.K. I had no idea who these guys were. And I came to know in 2012, जब Louis C.K. का special देखा, ये देखा, I was like, I saw these guys. And they were hilarious, right? But I'm sitting over there, 18 years old, being like, I can drink. I'm having a drink. It's 18 years old. It's legal. Wow, I can. I'm alone. Obviously, I'm just like happy with one drink, but I'm just in awe of that entire theatrical experience. There's boxes on the side. I'm in the balcony. I'm watching down. There's people going around with popcorn and stuff, like selling you like as though you're in a stadium. But it's beautiful to just experience that.
Lovely. There is a very specific show recommendation I have for you. I don't know if you have seen it. मेरे को सपन वर्मा ने recommend किया था जब उनके साथ मैंने episode किया था. There's a show called Crashing, where Pete Holmes was. Have you seen it?
Yeah. So Chandni's just started that, and I've also just started that.
You love it because
it's building up. It's building up.
Like a guy who's struggling stand-up comic और हर episode में किसी के घर पे जाके crash कर रहा है.
Yes.
Yeah. So because of the scene in the indie circuit, I think you are particularly going to love it. Yeah.
Glad, yeah.
Jokes भी बहुत ज़्यादा sharp है उसके, so yeah, I also really liked it. Eventually it got cancelled, but it's a good show. Yeah, very good show.
As far as watching stand-up or anything around stand-up, I try to actually get my downtime by not watching it.
Nice. That's
because there's so much live happening here, and I see so much day in, day out, etc. I feel that, we are in a particular era right now, which is 30, 40, 50 years behind where stand-up had started, where theatre had started, etc. Yeah, I mean, the internet and with the advent of all the technologies that's happening, it's much quicker to, catch up to things because of how easily knowledge is being shared and passed around. But the acceptance that comes from the audience is still, from society, is still going to take time.
True.
Laws are based on how society thinks about what is ethical, what is not ethical, what is correct, what is wrong. Right? That's how laws are created. Similarly, how stand-up or any performance gets accepted is based around what society thinks. Society might think that this particular subject is taboo 30 years back, but today it's fine. Everything is fine. Like, I mean, there are huge communities of people, there are huge movements which are happening for acceptance of basic human rights today, right? Which have already been accepted in other parts of the world, but are still happening in our parts of the world, right? Yeah. And it's going to take its own time. Yeah. So the only reason why those movements are happening is because people are trying to show that, hey, it's basic human rights. It's basic. And there is another part of society which is larger, which is saying that, like, listen, like, we're not ready for it, or like, I can't accept it. It's going to take time. Some might label it as orthodox. They're just labels, right? And how we're dealing with all of these labels. That's what it's about. Where we are today, it's going to take a lot more time for this particular thing to get created, where people are accepting of all forms of comedy, all forms of humor. There are still people who get reserved instantly. They can't take dark humor.
Yeah.
They can't handle death jokes. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I love dark jokes. So that's why I'm laughing. But I honestly believe and I hope that we're able to be persuasive enough to get people to think openly.
Yeah. One of my favorite jokes is by Louis C.K. It's about dogs. He's like, how everyone is saying ki, I rescued this dog, I rescued this dog. And he's like, I got a dog recently. So if anyone touches it and when they ask, oh, is it a rescue? He's like, no, I bought it and it's very expensive. So please don't touch it. Again, कितने लोग offend हो सकते हैं? ये अभी इसने clip डाली है इसकी. Everyone is triggered in comments. And I'm like, this is such a great joke. क्योंकि डॉग्स रेस्क्यू वाले पे आपने जाके मतलब वहां अटैक किया जहाँ पे लोग सबसे ज्यादा हो. I bought it. Please don't touch it.
Yeah, it's a joke. Okay, you're not supposed to take it seriously. If I watch all of these people perform online, all of these guys in the West, they're dealing with their part of society. It's going to be hard for me to translate that and come back here and tell people, hey man, because people ask for feedback. I actively don't give feedback because I'm like, hey, I'm not stepping on that stage. I'm not going up on that stage. I'm not performing. I respect the stage that much to be like, अगर आप जा रहे हो stage पे, तो then ask someone else who's going up on stage. At best, what I say is that, hey, I really enjoyed today. Today was something different. You swapped material around. It was very unique. It was very different. I won't say that like I have done this in the past and I've regretted it later on in my head when it's a shower thought for me. Like, yaar, ye bolna hi nahi chahiye tha. Like, why did I say this? You know, if I watch something online and if I watch like all of these guys do whatever they're doing with that part of society, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't translate to me watching these guys and being like, hey man, like, why don't you push the envelope more? Why don't you do this more? Why don't you do that more?
enough.
Because this is how society is over here today.
Yeah.
क्या करूँ मैं इनको बोल के?
Makes sense.
So if I want to live over here, yeah, it's good to view, but I can only see it as a fish tank.
Yeah.
You know, from outside.
Yeah.
I can't be inside it.
True.
Whereas over here, I'm inside this fish tank.
Yeah.
I have to fend for myself.
Yeah.
I have to get food.
Yeah.
I have to ensure these guys get their food.
Yes.
It's that's how it works.
Yeah. But this is great, Balraj. Like, कोई ऐसी चीज जो मैंने discuss नहीं की that you would love to talk about कि hey, I also want to talk about this. Yeah. Any particular thing?
Yeah, actually, this is one of my biggest pitfalls. मुझे सब कुछ है ना, like I will revisit this entire conversation at night before sleeping.
फिर याद आएगा.
It's like it happens in arguments or something like that also, right? यार ये इसको ऐसे बोल देना चाहिए था मुझे, instantly solve हो जाता. ऐसे नहीं होता है.
But unlike fights यहाँ पे ऐसे part 2, part 3 like podcast
Of course,
का
yaar. I want to learn a lot more about what you are actually doing. I purposely didn't go.
Yeah.
And despite whatever our conversation was, I did not go on YouTube, see any of your material. Because I was like, hey, we're meeting in person.
This is nice.
This is how I want to experience someone, where it's face to face, in person. It doesn't matter how the conversations are online. It doesn't matter because यहाँ पे जो हो रहा है ना वो
सत्य है.
हाँ
वो सत्य है.
मुझे ये भी नहीं पता क्या ऑनलाइन जाने वाला है. And I'm like,
this is how we trust someone and take the risk. Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like I said, I relate to whatever you are saying कि मैंने भी एक लेवल पे चलचित्र ऐसे ही बिल्ड किया है. And we are also extremely community driven एक organization. हमारा तो like I'll tell you, like a lot of our revenue comes by a paid subscription model we have. You know, it started with YouTube ka join button, but then I shifted things to chalchitratalks.com. You become my yearly member and then you'll get these accesses कि आपको हमने बहुत सारे clubs बनाए हुए हैं, like movie club, book club, everything on WhatsApp. Right. So we have people paying us from all over the world, Indians who just want to be in those clubs and talk to each other, and we charge like good amount. Like I said, our membership is for like 6,500 per year. And we have like a lot of people, and अब हर दूसरे दिन कोई नया member join करता है. And मतलब we do take pride in having one of the strongest communities in India.
It takes a lot of effort and a lot of force to create and maintain a community because there is a lot of social inertia.
Yeah.
You have to, like, you know, constantly message people, constantly persuade them, have you watched this, have you done that? And it's, I wouldn't call it promoting a particular thing, but it's more like that's the only way you stay relevant in their heads, because there's so much of noise, there's so much, you're inundated, you're completely flooded by that. So you have to constantly be like, hey man, like this is happening, have you heard about this? This is really good. And I recommend that. Similarly, we had started a film club over here.
Oh.
And this was in 2000 and between 2016 and 17.
Wow.
It's called White Wall Screenings.
Wow.
And a co-founder of mine Pratik Rajan Kothari. He is also a director. He has done this show called Cutting on this particular app called Oho Gujarati. He also has multiple short films which he has made, and they're beautiful. One is called Hell Oh Hello, which is there on Amazon. He came up to me because Hell Oh Hello was a part of an anthology called Shor Se Shuruaat in 2016. At that point in time, he used to come over here with another theatre artist, Nandram Anandji, who used to perform at Prithvi. And we had started poetry open mics here, and Nandram Anandji came over here and used to perform very unique pieces of poetry. And Pratik would come along with him, and then Pratik started doing one-act plays, mono-act plays before poetry. Short 7-minute, 8-minute mono-act plays. He would then, after that, come up to me and be like, "Hey, यार ये फिल्म है मेरे पास, मुझे इसको स्क्रीन करना है, मैं इसको स्क्रीन कैसे करूँ? कुछ कर सकते क्या स्क्रीन करने का?" And I'd be like, आप अकेले मत स्क्रीन करो, एक काम करो, I don't know how many people will come to watch it. You get, एक काम करो, you get at least one other film or two other films. We'll make it a session. क्योंकि आपका शॉर्ट फिल्म, दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्शन टू शॉर्ट फिल्म्स. सो 10 से 12 मिनट का फिल्म अगर है तो ऐसे 3 फिल्म हो जाएंगे, आधा घंटा हो जाएगा, और फिर डिस्कशंस कर लो. एंड ही गॉट द डायरेक्टर्स ऑफ द अदर फिल्म्स एज वेल. देयर वाज नो ऑडियंस व्हेन वी हेल्ड द फर्स्ट स्क्रीनिंग, but the directors actually met and discussed their films for the first time. Despite this anthology being released in PVR, despite this anthology, each director having their own mentor for it. Right? And mentors are all famous directors today. This led to the birth of Sunday Shots, where we started.
Wow.
Okay, and then Sunday Shots, because we were like, hey, let's do other days. So let's change the name. It's called White Wall Screenings. And we've screened over 400 different short films. We've had some really nice films presented who have gone to Berlinale, they've Sundance, they've gone to Cannes, they've gone like everywhere. And it was just an absolute pleasure to be sitting amidst the directors, the editors, the DI colorists, the sound engineers, and understand what their perspective was, ask them the right questions. And इसमें वो community बनते बनते ना, we also realized that, hey, there is no connection between someone who's new, might be doing film school, might not be doing film school, might be just interested, might be a critic, right? But has no exposure, and they just want more to interact more and more with this side of the table. And this is what actually happened. We just got both the sides together. We didn't realize this was happening till like we had done enough sessions already. We had already done like a year and a half, and we were like, this is great, because there are people who are meeting and getting jobs. There are people who are meeting and getting experience, getting a lot more learning, are able to suddenly make their own short film. And we're all experimenting with like handheld, with phone, with one shot, with single shot films, so it opened my mind up to the different kinds of direction, different kinds of cameras, lenses, audio, mics, everything that exists.
Wow.
Right now, Pratik actively hosts all of these panels at NCPA.
Wow.
And he hosts free screenings of up to 3 films and those are absolutely free to go and watch on Wednesdays at NCPA. And he also hosts over here on Sundays. There are a few Sundays right now. हमने थोड़ा pause लिया because of rains, etc. But otherwise, throughout the year, we're screening over here. Also, at Soho in Juhu, we've held screenings over there.
Lovely. And that's how like community.
I mean, I would love to, sit more and jam with you about this because
मैं आपको बताऊं, because ये बहुत मैच करे. जैसे मैं जब भी ट्रैवल कर रहा होता है and I go to a city, जैसे मैंने अभी डाला कि I am in Bombay and Hindol is also here, so हम 3-4 faces हैं चलचित्र के. दिशा एक क्रिएटर है चैनल पे, so come and meet us. We are doing a meetup in like Bombay. मैंने कल दिन में डाला था ये, and we have had more than 100 entries.
Yes.
Third Wave Coffee invited us to do a meetup there. They paid me to do a meetup at their cafe.
Beautiful.
And I've never been to US, and there are 2 Chalchitra meetups which have happened in US.
Fantastic.
I was once
So you were on Zoom?
No. Just my godfather. So my members are called. I wasn't even there.
Okay.
They just met each other. They
Yeah.
are on the Godfathers Club
Yeah.
on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
They planned कि San Jose से कौन है.
हाँ.
Let's come and meet. And
हाँ.
they just posted a photo after that. Like
Crazy.
so this is how we are building it. And अभी in all continents we have like our members. अभी कोई कतर से है, कल एक जर्मनी से नई member आई है. And I just love कि how एक तो पैसे दे के आ रहे ना, so you are kind of getting people जो actually like who are serious invested in this, who are serious about this, and plus we are the faces, उनको सबसे पहले पता चलता है कि कौन सी चीज कैसे हो रही है. I do monthly calls with them when we are 3 co-founders. We just come and talk to them.
Fantastic.
And जैसे मेरे जो friends हैं, जैसे एक बार मैं कुल्लू के घर पे था, so I'm like कुल्लू मेरे godfathers are ये members से बात कर लोगे. कुल्लू just talked to for 30 minutes with my members and everyone just posted photos. Last month, NAS Summit, I don't know if you NAS Daily का जो NAS Summit है, I was there for that and Tanmay was also there. So Tanmay को I just messaged कि यार like I met you after so long, like would you make a video for my godfathers वगैरह. He just made a video for my godfathers and I posted it in the group. And like the small things, I just keep thinking कि मैं और क्या चीज करूँ इनके लिए. Like I think one of my biggest inspiration comes from Oberoi Hotels.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. क्योंकि
how it started and their entire journey.
they're the and the hospitality they have. So because जैसे मैंने जिन भी hotels में रहा हूँ ना, like I have this theory, even if you go to a 5-star hotel, वो आपको छोटा दिखाने के लिए कुछ चीजें करते हैं. Let's say if you ask कि मैम ये है क्या, वो एक ऐसा लुक देंगे जिससे आपको वो फील कराएंगे. तेरे को ये भी नहीं पता. Right, and I have noticed it in 5 stars of 5 stars की वो एक अमित टंडन का भी है ना कि पैरापिट पे आके आपको पैरापिट क्या होता है, right? ओबरॉय में उल्टा होता है. And like every time I have been there, luckily because of family, like मैं 1-2 बार like जब भी मैं वहाँ गया हूँ, इनका गेम ही अलग है यार. ये मतलब
they'll make you feel home, they'll make you
इतना comfortable करा देंगे.
They will be like आप whatever time, whenever you need something, they will make you feel home. And so I have worked with ITC hotels in the past, and they also actively try to follow this model. So the thing is that a company again is only as good as its people, right? आप चाहे जितना भी training कर लो. Another thing that's differentiating about Oberoi is that between ITC and Oberoi, what I have seen is that it doesn't matter the quality of your food, because ITC has fantastic food. I was working in the ITC in sales and marketing, and it was one of the easiest things for me to actually go up to a customer, to go up to a particular client, to a company and be like, hey, I'll host a meal for you, etc. वो आए खाना खाए, उनके साथ बैठा हूँ मैं, I show them the rooms also, etc. And they'll be like, yes, I'm booking over here.
ठीक है.
But at the end of the day, a hotel in that sense becomes a factory.
True.
Right?
True.
कि आए गए, room साफ हुआ, this, that, ये वो. What differentiates that between a factory and this again is the same people who will basically be like, they will follow up with the customer कि आपको मिला कि नहीं मिला? नहीं मिला, मैं अभी कराता हूँ. ये मेरी responsibility है, खुद की. मैं आपको करा. This is what happens in Oberoi. I have seen this first hand.
मैं आपको इसका craziest example बताता हूँ. There is Shimla में Oberoi, the wildflower, like
the first one.
The first one, yes. So I had gone there with my brother. मेरे birthday पे like he was with the entrepreneurs and stuff. तो सबकी flight थी. He had to go to Bangalore. I had to go to my place. और ना उसको my brother likes the wildflower का खाना बहुत ज़्यादा. So उन्होंने request किया था, यार कल हमारी early flight है, आप ना प्लीज ब्रेकफास्ट पैक करा देना, हम खाएंगे. ठीक है. और ये लेट हो गए सुबह, तो दे जस्ट लेफ्ट. ठीक है कि यार निकल गया मेरा भाई, एंड लाइक दे हैड टू फ्लाइट. और कर्वी रोड्स होती है हिमाचल में, जब आप शिमला से आ रहे होते हैं वो सब होता है. 1 घंटे के बाद लाइक दे हैड बीन गेटिंग कॉल्स कि मतलब एंड लाइक दे डिडंट नोटिस और समथिंग. 1 घंटे के बाद लाइक माय ब्रदर पिक्ड अप अ कॉल कि सर आप कहाँ हो. वो मतलब ये सर कि आप कहाँ पे हो. बोले कि मैं तो ये रास्ते में. सर एक बार गाड़ी रोको ना. एंड ओबरॉय की एक गाड़ी 1 घंटे से आ रही थी to give them the food they had requested last night.
Wow.
It flipped our mind.
Yeah, obviously.
वो सिर्फ खाना देने के लिए आपको, because आपने randomly बोला यार कल पैक करा के दे देना.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm, जैसे आपने कहा कि वो पूछते रहते हैं. They mean it.
Yeah.
और I've seen it in the best of 5-star hotels. They don't mean it.
This is a very common trait about hospitality. Generally, any hotel you go to, whether if it is a Marriott or an ITC or a Taj, there are always going to be people who are disgruntled about what they do.
Yes, man.
Okay?
Oh.
And that I have seen results in coming out on the customer.
That's the shittiest thing, na?
So when I did my industrial training when I was working when I was studying in college in 2007 at JW Marriott Juhu, and over there we were getting 1,000 rupees stipend in a month. It was beautiful because I actually realized the value of money there. I think हम लोग passages vacuum कर रहे हैं हर रोज, housekeeping, like everybody who's done hospitality or hotel management knows what they go through, right? There was just one thing which was followed on, which I keep with me till date, right? You keep your employees happy, and if you take care of your employees will keep your customers happy.
True.
Your internal customers have to be happy for your external customers to be happy. It was such a beautiful line by Marriott. I've kept that with me till date because I'm like, okay, it made me a lot more empathetic towards our staff, towards whoever has worked in our organization, whoever. Yeah, I mean, I'm also growing as an individual, so I have made those mistakes where I've misunderstood what people said. I've not been of the right temperament to handle that conversation in the right sense. But I've made sure to go back and apologize and be like, hey man, listen, like, you know, I misunderstood. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are like, मैं ऐसे कैसे बोल दूंगा, मैं ये क्या कर दूंगा, वो क्या कर दूंगा. You live a very long life on this planet. No matter how short people say, it's still long enough for you to meet that person again in your life.
Hard relate, dude.
Right? So you have to be empathetic towards people and be like, hey man, is everything all right? Everything okay? And they will carry that forward, the same behavior with whoever they interact with. Whether if it's their family, with anyone else. It's not that you are a role model, it's just that because you are nice to someone, they will be nice to someone else. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, मतलब I agree with each and every word because ये मेरे value system का part है आप जो चीजें बोल रहे हो.
Yeah, Oberoi में I believe that they're sticklers for that. They're control freaks about
100%.
teaching this and ensuring that happens because that's the only thing that keeps them going. Yes. If there's someone who goes back to an Oberoi, it's only because of the staff. Yeah. I have experienced that the same thing in this hotel. We have staff working in this hotel since over a decade now.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons why, I mean, I really enjoy speaking to them is because they're not just great at conversation, but they'll be like, मेरे पास इसका solution है.
Yes.
मेरे पास उसका solution है.
Yes.
मैं sort करके देता हूँ. In 5-star hotels, typically, that's a concierge desk.
Right? So concierge का मतलब 2 साल पहले पता चला था.
So वही है ना, this is not supposed to be limited to a concierge desk. This is supposed to be anybody who's working के मुझे नहीं आता लेकिन मैं आपको एक बंदा लाके देता हूँ जो आपको sort करके दे देगा.
Culturally ये चीज आप देखते हो यार कि ये apply होती है. And वही मैं भी inculcate करने की कोशिश करता हूँ एक level पे कि चलचित्र में like.
Over here also, as whoever are the artists who come here, one of the main reasons why they also come back, they're like, यार मतलब ऐसे लगता है कि like there's Abhimanyu who's working with us in our F&B team. There's Chandu, there's Dilip. These 3 guys, basically anybody who comes in, they know, अरे Abhimanyu, इधर आना. अच्छा, they know each other by their first name. Artists have reached there where they'll call someone, etc. And Abhimanyu उसको देख के बोलेगा कि सर आपने ये ट्राई किया क्या खाने में, या आपने ये ट्राई किया नहीं, एंड दे विल ट्रस्ट. सो इंस्टेंटली, अच्छा सुनना, मुझे बैटरी चाहिए यहाँ से, मुझे एक डिस्पिन ला के दे दे, एक ये दे दे, वो दे दे, whatever it is. Like, and these guys have also been here as a part of the system long enough to know that वो immediately खाना खा के स्टेज पे नहीं जा सकता है, माइक पे डकार मार लेगा. नहीं तो ऐसे करेगा माइक भी, उसके लिए अजीब होगा. Like, he can't be doing that. So he will basically like be like, अच्छा सर नहीं तो मैं कुछ आपके लिए फटाफट लेके आ जाता हूँ जो छोटा है, और उसके बाद मैं कुछ हैवी दे देता हूँ, नहीं तो फिर आप बाद में खा लो, आपका 5 मिनट का स्पॉट है, इतना टाइम लगने वाला है ये वो. That confidence of being able to reason with someone,
yes,
which people don't have. More than half of the people on this planet are not confident about being able to reason only. And that also gets mistaken for arrogance.
ये रील कटेगी यहाँ से. ये सत्य है. ट्रू यार, बट लाइक मेरे को लगता है कि इसका हम डेफिनेटली पार्ट 2 करेंगे एंड लाइक
करते हैं यार, there's a lot more to
there's
talk
a
about.
lot more to talk about. Abhi to this is we are just learning new
This is
things
learning.
about each other, but this was amazing. Thank you, Balraj. for your time.
Thank you for coming down over here. I mean, I'm very happy that this is happening, honestly. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Hoping to see you again, and this was beautiful. Thank you so much for your
Thanks,
time.
bhai. Thank you so much, bhai.
Thank you.